Hi everyone, this is Tim at Makers Machining. We're here today on a little project, and I know Makers Machining talks about machining, but we're doing some fabricating and welding here, and most of the time they go hand in hand. You have to do a little machining before you can do some welding, or you do some machining and then it has to be welded and put back together. What we got here is a big table. I don't know if we can scan back on what this is here. This is the big table that goes on a conveyor line that has big coils of steel coming in, and this is about in the direction where the material comes in, and this table is used to lift and take the end of the coil and guide it into the machines that it goes into. It stitches the ends of the coils together, so it's a continuous running process through there. But Dan here is fabricating this this whole unit, and you know, we're going to talk a little bit about here of what we had to do to get this set up, so when we weld it together, it's not out of kilter and not going to be straight and square. So we've got a nice square round tabletop here, and this thing is large. It's like 85 inches wide and probably 6 feet long. So we had all our parts pre-made. We got burnouts here on the side. There's a couple holes already burned in them here, and we use those with like there's a big bar that goes between them, a big bar that holds the pieces together and lines them up. We've got a couple bars for alignment purposes. Also along the side here, we've got some other holes where you put pins in that will be on the right location for where these pans are formed to set in place. So mathematically and according to the print, all these holes are in a certain spot, and it's exactly the same on the other side. So as we set these, and Dan machined the bottom surface of these things here, so we have a truly flat plane here to work from in conjunction with the flat tabletop. And then you can see how Dan's got the setup here, where we've got spacer bars, alignment bars. Dan's got clamps on here, and they're pulling the bars together. Dan, you want to explain your setup here a little bit?
Well, our table we had wasn't big enough, so we got a couple cold rolled bars here just to make up the length difference. They're sitting on the flat plane. In the back, those are bored holes to accept some pins that go in some pillow blocks. So that I know I bored those while they were welded together. Each end plate I sandwiched them together and tack welded, so all the holes will be in the same location when I bored them.
You also put some bushings on here.
Yeah, there's some bushings,
and that helps align everything. Those are you know, thicker than what the plate is, because those holes bored alone in a 1/2 inch plate wouldn't give much guidance. But these things here have bigger bushings there that line it up, and what goes in that bushing there ultimately is going to be a 4140 alloy pin that sticks out, and it fits in a pillow block. Our shaft is 2 inches in diameter, but the pillow blocks, for whatever reason, bearings have been made for years to less than nominal sizes. So we've got 1 inch and 15/16 diameter rods that are going to stick out that pillow blocks sit in. You got another bracket that you're welding on there too, I believe, Dan, huh?
Yeah, there's another bracket that goes here, and that's where they attach. I think it goes
cylinders
here.
there?
Yeah, maybe it's over here. Somewhere over here, they attach some hydraulic cylinders here to lift the table up.
So anyhow, talking about getting a setup for welding this together, you can get everything lined up, have everything set up straight. Like I said, we got pins that help position these pans. You might notice that these are on a little bit of an angle. They're not perfectly flat, and that's by design. There's going to be some big rollers that go in here. They're 4-inch diameter rubber lined rollers, and you can see here's a hexagon hole in here, and the rollers are 84 inches long roughly, maybe 83 inches long, and then they have a spring-loaded shaft in the center of the roller, so you can push the shaft in, and when it comes and gets to where the hole is, the shaft pops out. So you've got easily replaceable rollers that have hexagon drives on them, or that's not really a driven roller, but they can locate and be positioned there. So all those things have to line up from side to side, but probably the most important thing, and any of you guys that have done a lot of welding and fabricating, you know that when you spot all these things together, you need to tack weld them here and there and balance around where you're tack welding them so you don't get a twist. If you did all the welding on this side, those other sides would be all over the map. So all these pans here, and we've got a bunch of I-beams over here on the ground that are going to get welded on the underside. They've all been machined to all the same length, so when these end plates are clamped and pulled together, everything is parallel. But parallel doesn't necessarily mean can't get some twist in there, so that's why you tack weld sporadically around it so you can get positions that are held. Then you put a little bit more weld on it, and then you can finish up with all the welding afterwards. But you know, Dan's got all the stuff here for his welder. He's got the fire retardant jacket on, welding leather. As you can see, all the pits on there. So you know, there's been some welding he's done on those. His helmet there is the one that automatically darkens as soon as the arc of the weld hits it. That's a nice innovation that's come along 20 years ago or so that we never used to have. You used to have to shake your head and get the helmet to fall down and hope your welding gun didn't move. You know, we're using a MIG welder on this, soft wire. Everything's coming together pretty good. We got it clamped and fixtured, so it's dead on. We've been able to check it so the flatness is all there. Anything else you got on this, Dan? You've seen Dan before on a few other projects here, so he's a jack of all trades. This guy is. He can fix a steam engine and he can make a conveyor table, so he does a good job. I've known Dan for a long time. I think I've told you that before, but our shop, we get a lot of different projects in here, so it makes life interesting. You always got to have your thinking cap on. So anyhow, I think that might be all we've got. We're not going to have enough time to flip this thing over while we weld in these I-beams. You can see the 3 I-beams on the ground back there. It's a nice day to be working outside. If it was raining or snowing, we wouldn't be here. Last time we were out here talking with Dan, it was 10 degrees outside. It was a sunny Saturday, yeah. But this is a whole lot better. About what, 70 degrees today, maybe. Yeah, it's nice to work outside like this. Anyhow, if you have any questions, I think you know how to get a hold of us on the YouTube site there. Be sure to share with your friends and like what you see if you can. We'll be good to go. So thanks for joining us today. So long.